The world has been doing a lot of Googling lately about millionaires and kind of wondering what that is like. And so, because this is a personal finance channel and both of us are multimillionaires in the 1%, we wanted to do a video that just kind of explains what it is like and what some of these things really mean. It's a little bit cringy of a title for me. I just don't like the optic of how that looks.
Yeah.
But I think it's valuable for people from a personal finance standpoint and learning to understand kind of what it is like being there.
That's right. So we're answering questions that people are Googling, the most commonly Googled questions about millionaires answered by a couple of millionaires.
One of the top ones,
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised at this one, is are millionaires part of the 1%?
Statistically, right, actually about 6% of Americans are millionaires.
That
right?
seems crazy. I think when people hear that, they're like, what? No way.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, if you own your own home in a lot of places, you're already a millionaire in California and New York.
If you've saved up for retirement, like to retire in the United States and be able to just live off of your retirement and not Social Security, you pretty much need to be a millionaire.
Mm-hmm. And so I think that's why the number is there. But, you know, for many of you, you may not even know a millionaire if you're 25.
Exactly.
Right? So the millionaire title applies a lot to the older generation who have been, earning a lot. So statistically, 6% of Americans are millionaires.
And it takes an annual income of $421,926 to be the 1%, according to the Economic Policy Institute.
Right.
So only people making that much or above are the 1%. Here's the news flash for you. Most millionaires do not make that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But we are multimillionaires from the business that we have created and the assets that each of our families have. And so I think it's an interesting perspective to kind of see on some of these things. And perspective, here's why I wanted to kind of bring that up is, how do millionaires pay low?
Sorry, what's the question?
The question, how do millionaires pay lower taxes than everybody else?
Okay,
What are the most common?
Let me tell you something. First of all, like we're 1%ers now, but even like last year, we were barely borderline, right? And as 1%er millionaires, I paid more per quarter in taxes than most school teachers earn in a year.
Mm-hmm. Per quarter?
Per quarter. So I paid for 4 to 5 school teachers last year myself. Mm-hmm. Okay? So this idea that millionaires are somehow paying less taxes, I'm sorry, but most millionaires own businesses. We're going to talk a little bit about what makes up a millionaire's assets, I think.
You could buy a house with cash with how much each one of us earns in taxes in a year.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And when I hear people complaining about the 1% aren't paying enough tax, it's like, do you have any idea?
Yeah.
I mean, any idea of what's actually happening?
I've seen complaints on Facebook, right, from friends of mine who aren't at that millionaire level, but they do own a small business, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, when you own a business, they come after everything. And they do. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly right. And since most millionaires are small business owners, most millionaires are not Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. Most millionaires are not CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. They're small business owners. And when those millionaires pay their taxes, it hurts, and it hurts bad, because I pay more on a percentage basis by far than I ever paid working a corporate job. So I'm sorry, but I don't even want to hear that question, because I just know it's not true, even though that's what the media tells you.
Now, you may hear that whatever Amazon or Google or something is paying
company,
this
right?
tiny little corporate tax rate, and that is something that I
That's
definitely
a different
have
issue.
a big problem with.
Totally different
Because
issue.
it's unfair to a small or medium-sized business that's trying to compete with what really they're monopolies.
Yeah.
And so I have a big problem with that. But when I hear people droning on about how the 1% aren't paying enough, it's like, you don't know what that means.
Right.
You really don't.
And the other issue is that a lot of wealthier people later in life, most of their take-home pay comes as some form of interest on their investments, which is taxed as capital gains, not as income, which is taxed at a lower tax rate. Fine. What happens when we raise capital gains tax? Well, what happens is that you, saving for your retirement, now the amount that you earn decreases because that interest is being taxed at a higher rate. It's going to hurt everybody, right? I think there's the whole corporate tax rate thing, that's a totally different issue. Let's go after that for sure.
Absolutely.
But trying to tax the rich individually more, I think only hurts, it either hurts everybody or it hurts small business owners and others who are nowhere near the Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg level.
Yeah. Now, I think some of you hear that and you say, wah,
yeah,
right?
Whatever.
And it's like, it's true. Like, I'm really grateful for what I have, and I totally get it.
Yeah.
But when I hear that message in the media constantly, and I know the actual statistic that 48% of Americans pay 0% net federal tax, and then I hear that droning on about why I have to pay more, it's going to grain on you. That's going to make you pretty sick.
Especially when how many millionaire business owners are creating jobs for
We're
everybody
employing
else?
people.
Like,
Because
I
we
employ
took risks
people.
and worked really hard.
Absolutely.
All right. Are millionaires self-made? According to a 2017 survey from Fidelity Investments, 88% of millionaires did not inherit more than 10% of their wealth. 88% of millionaires are self-made. That's the vast majority. Certainly true for both of us.
My parents are still alive, right? Your parents are still alive. I haven't inherited a thing. Well, okay. We inherited a used washing machine from my wife's grandpa when he passed away. I'll give you that. A couple pieces of furniture. But other than that, like, we both paid for our educations. We both have paid for just everything in our lives. Like, you know, our parents helped turn us into the people we are, but they certainly didn't give us money.
Yeah.
And that's the case for, again, at least 88%.
And both of our parents were not wealthy.
Nope.
So it's not as if we were given some gift of understanding.
No, absolutely not. Not even close. I drove a $1,000 Subaru station wagon in high school. Do you remember my station wagon?
Do you remember my 1976 Chevy? Chevy? People would key it as they walked through the school parking lot. Like it was the thing. It was just for fun. There's so much rust. Can millionaires live off interest? Yeah and no.
Right.
That's a tough one to answer. So if you have $1 million, let's say the stock market were to give you 10% per year, then you'd have $100,000 to live off of. You're paying capital gains tax
which is a lower
on that,
rate.
which is a lower rate. And so could you live off of it? Yeah, you
absolutely.
could.
I mean, the stock market, if you look historically over the last 50 years, the S&P 500 has done an average of about 9% a year. Like, yeah, $90,000 to $100,000 a year. Could you do that? Yes. However, and I don't know what your butt was, but here's mine. And that is most millionaires don't have all of their assets in the stock market.
It's not all liquid.
Many business owners have a business, right? And that makes up a good portion of their wealth. Certainly, a big portion of my net worth is the business that I own. My home. That is not earning interest for me every year.
Right.
So if I do have my money, if I do have $1 million in stocks and real estate and stuff, yes, you can absolutely generate enough cash flow to live on indefinitely. That's my retirement plan, by the way. But it does take a net worth of usually well over $1 million.
Right, and the well over, because you know, you look at that. You know, what if your first year of retirement that you're drawing out of it? Coronavirus, and the market crashes 15%. It's like, oh crap, that could put the whole project in jeopardy just because I happen to retire this year. There are a lot of things that can happen, and so $1 million for most people is not going to be enough. Plus, if you retire early, I'm 35. If I retire today, you know, I'm getting $100,000 a year in the interest, but then you know, we're paying taxes on it, so now I got 80. And then $80,000 a year when I'm 80 years old.
Inflation's gonna kill that. It's
exactly.
gonna be worth 20 grand today.
So you probably need more than $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay, why are millionaires Democrats?
Somebody's Googling that?
Yes,
That's amazing.
that was one of the top ones. I'm not.
I'm not either.
I
don't
know.
identify particularly with either party 100%, but
I'm more libertarian, I think, if you're to put me somewhere.
Honestly, I think a lot of millionaires kind of lean a little bit more economically, are more fiscally on the conservative side of the spectrum. There are many millionaires that find themselves on the Democrat side, and I think, and it's because there are a few high-profile ones, for one, but usually it's more on the social side of things.
Yes.
Because they're so successful, they care about giving back. And I even watched an interview with Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and I can't remember the third guy. And they were talking a lot about that. And it's like the free market is just the best way for an economy to work. But they said it is our responsibility, and we're perfectly fine with the government redistributing some of our wealth to safety programs for those people who the free market does leave behind. And
see, that's where I differ.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with the government. The government does nothing well.
Well, it's because
exactly. I am generous. I give a lot.
And that is how we both feel.
I don't want the government touching it. Everything the government touches, they screw up.
You might disagree with us on that one, and we both feel that way. And if you disagree with that, I just want you to ask yourself, can you name one government program, institution, organization that is just the model of efficiency?
Nope.
I'm sorry. Good luck. Good luck. You can spend
the only thing you can point to is say, we have an awesome military. No, we have awesome members of the military.
Yes.
You ask any member of the military how efficient the government is, and they're going to laugh.
I went to business school with a whole bunch of people in the military, a bunch of them. Okay, the program really suited itself to them, and I won't share specifics because it will probably make you want to tear your hair out. They talked about the inefficiencies in the way budgets are handled and stuff. I'm sorry, but we could have twice the military on half the budget if it were run. Now, it needs the oversight, whatever. You say private military contractor, that's a totally different discussion here. But if it were run by a profit-seeking institution, I'm sorry, we could have twice the military on half the budget. We just would. End of story. So there you go.
How do I become a millionaire? This is the number one Google topic.
You make $1 million.
Yeah, that'll do it. So I don't know what your list. I'm sure you'll resonate with some of the ones that I put down, but I want to hear anything else you have. My number one is be the best in your field.
Yeah.
You can become the very best school teacher, and you may still not become a millionaire. But in most fields, there's someone at the top who's doing really, really well. So be the best in your field. Go read a book every freaking week and get good at whatever you're doing. Go to the extra education, spend the late nights, and be at the top of your dang field, whatever it is. Number two, obviously, spend or save more than you spend. That's easy to say, hard to do. When you get your tax refund, when you get a bonus at work, goodbye, it's gone.
Time for a new TV.
And so when you get those big chunks of money, put them in savings. Number three, don't waste one nickel on interest your whole life. If you do things right, you go through college, no debt at all, you have no credit cards, no car payments, nothing, and everything you do is just optimized well to be saving and spending. You do not need to earn that much money.
No, there are plenty
really well
of school teachers that have become millionaires
because
of a lifetime of good decisions. That's right.
You just can't make a whole lot of big mistakes and still get there. All right, and then last, for me, invest in index funds. I've seen so many people that when they finally have that chunk of money that they can do, they really want to do a good job with it. And so they're like, I'm going to go find that hot marijuana stock, or I'm going to go invest in this local business or something. There's got to be something that can make this turn big. And whammo, that chance that they had to put a big chunk in at some point in their life got squandered. Put it in a dang index fund, people. All it's going to do is this going to take your money, take the 500 biggest companies in the world that are pretty much just going to track the market and put it there? Because historically, whether you look at 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years of the stock market,
pretty much 10% across the board.
You're gonna do okay, right? And so just make a solid base hit when you have that chunk of money to put in. Even if that chunk is $5,000 that you were able to save up. Make a solid base hit instead of trying to hit the home run and swinging for the fences, because you only need a base hit.
That's right. The safest way to become a millionaire is to do what you just said, but to start it as early as possible. Mm-hmm. The effect of compound interest is just, if you're watching this channel, you've probably seen plenty of videos that talk to you about the shape of that curve and what that looks like. You just have to start as early as possible. I think the one thing I'm going to add to that list is to treat education, any of those, I mean, you talked about go read a book or whatever, but like any type of education that you take, treat it as an investment that requires a return on investment. You can make a massive mistake in your late teens and early 20s by shackling yourself with a lifetime of debt for a degree that is completely worthless. If there's one thing that's going to kill your chances of becoming a millionaire over the course of your lifetime, it is probably student loans. That's the most likely one. There are other things that could happen. You could have that case where you just get a terrible medical condition that's going to be expensive, and I'm really sorry about that. But most likely, the thing that's going to prevent you from being a millionaire is the loans you took out, the bad decisions you made, financial decisions. So treat education like an investment. Look at, here is what people in this field actually earn. Not just like, you could say, what do lawyers earn? They earn all sorts of money, right? Jen's like shaking his head here. No, they earn lots of money if you go to a big firm that
they own your soul.
It's the same thing for MBAs. You look at these schools and they're like, oh, here's the median earnings and stuff. And it's like, oh, wow, these guys are making six figures right out of school, usually a lot more than that with bonuses and stuff. And it's
my ringtone. Yeah, The Office.
It's The Office. It's awesome. Sorry. But it's because they go work at a big investment bank and they own your soul. Mm-hmm. Most MBAs don't go do that. And because of that, MBA, most likely, if you don't want that lifestyle, you're not going to earn that kind of money. So go find out what you're actually going to be able to earn, figure out what it's actually going to cost you to go to school, and then treat your time at school like an investment. Learn everything you can, take the electives that are going to help you be successful in your career, not just have a good time for 4 years.
And lest we think that those two pieces of advice, be the best in your field and be careful to make sure you get an ROI on your education, conflict.
Not at all.
Don't pick a stupid field that's going to take you $100,000 in debt. Just don't.
Yeah.
Go pick one where you can be the best in your field without doing that said thing. Now, a lot of the things we've said on this video are going to be controversial. Look at the dislikes on this video and you'll understand. There are going to be some things we said that you aren't going to agree with and you aren't going to like, and that's okay. We can all have different perspectives, but what this channel is about is setting you up to win financially. We have learned so much in our journey, and I'm really grateful for where each of us has gotten financially, and it breaks my heart to see so many people that just really struggle, and they put so much strain on a family when you're not doing well. And so we're here, we're rooting for you and how we can get you to be where you want to be. So give us a subscribe, and YouTube will be pushing some of our best videos to you over the next few days so that you can up your game.